From immortal warriors to reality warpers, from unkillable monsters to world-destroying phenomena, these are a sliding scale of some of the most powerful SCPs ever recorded. In the words of the great Chills, number 15, SCP-076, Abel. Starting off the list is SCP-076, the immortal warrior known as Abel. Abel is contained within a stone sarcophagus that the Foundation keeps in an elaborate underground prison. Though he looks like an ordinary human male, if a little unusually tall and ripped, with dark hair, olive skin, and tattoos all over his body, Abel is far more deadly than he looks. When released from his sarcophagus, Abel enters a berserker rage state that leads him to kill any human he comes across. He has incredible superhuman abilities, able to rip through a steel door, run a distance of 64 meters in under 3 seconds, and shrug off gunshot wounds that would be fatal to any normal person. On top of all that, he can also manifest bladed weapons out of nowhere. Abel can only be subdued by killing him, which, for all of the reasons that we just listed, is very difficult. Once he dies, his lifeless body manifests back in the sarcophagus, waiting to revive and fight another day. These dormant periods are why he's been placed at the bottom of the list. Our next monster is almost never dormant. Number 14, SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile. This Keter-class entity's Foundation records began with SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible, which is a pretty clear sign for how deadly it is. 682 is a huge reptilian creature that can adapt to anything, and we really mean everything. As far as the Foundation knows, it can't be killed. Even shooting it into the sun didn't work. It can even change size, drawing the energy to do so from whatever matter it eats. The only way to contain it has been to hold it in a vat of acid, which dissolves it faster than it can regenerate. But even that isn't a sure thing, since 682 has escaped and gone on rampages on multiple occasions. SCP-682 is also intelligent and motivated by a homicidal hatred of all other living things. But thankfully, there's only one SCP-682, meaning that in the grand scheme of things, it's still at the low end of the list. And at least he couldn't wipe out all life on Earth by walking into the wrong place. Number 13, SCP-073, Kain. Another seemingly normal humanoid. Kain might seem like a nice guy when you talk to him, but if his skin comes into contact with any plants or products derived from plants, they immediately rot and disintegrate. Kain's effect on soil is even more dire. If he sets foot on soil, all life within that soil, including bacteria, dies off within a radius of 20 meters. So basically, if Kain was allowed to walk the Earth, he could destroy entire ecosystems just by walking through them. Why doesn't the Foundation just kill him? Well, because Kain is rubber and you are glue. Any violence attempted against him reflects back onto the person who tried to hurt him, usually killing them in the process. These abilities would make him a formidable threat if he was ever able to escape containment. And that's not even getting into what would happen if he came into contact with Abel. Kain has told the Foundation it's best for everyone if the two never meet in person. Just like how you'd never want to see our next guy. Number 12, SCP-096, the Shy Guy. That cute name is misleading. 096 is one creature you really shouldn't mess with. Most of the time, this lanky, pale humanoid remains in a docile state in its cell, but that all changes whenever someone looks at its face. This causes 096 to go into a state of inconsolable rage, which only stops when the creature has killed everyone who has seen its visage. This is true for even photos or videos of the creature's face, and no matter where you are in the world, nothing can stop 096 from finding you and killing you. It can run at incredible speeds, plowing through anything in its way. As you can imagine, this has the potential to cause huge chain reactions and massive loss of civilian lives, which is why the Foundation considers keeping it in containment to be an alpha priority. And the Shy Guy is afraid of our next anomaly. Number 11, SCP-173, the Sculpture. This SCP is an odd-looking statue made of concrete, rebar, and spray paint that must be kept in the direct line of sight of a human being at all times. While being observed, it can't move. But if not being observed, it can move incredibly quick, even in just the time it takes to blink. What happens if you look away from it? It teleports behind you and breaks your neck. But it's nothing personal. honest. This SCP might seem like a strange pick for number 11 on the list, but hear us out. Consider how powerful SCP-096 is for a second. Well, there's a tale in the SCP files where SCP-173 is able to break 096's neck. So even though the statue doesn't have any big, crazy world-ending abilities, it still must be incredibly powerful. Let's just all be grateful that it doesn't have any greater ambitions beyond snapping the occasional neck. Number 10. 1179, the Centralian Fire Demon. This SCP is the first one of many on this list that is considered impossible to contain. It resides deep underground in the Appalachian coal mines of Pennsylvania. It's been described as a giant humanoid made out of fire and volcanic rock, resembling artistic depictions of the fire giants of Norse myth. In one hand it holds a flaming whip, and in the other, a sword. This entity is believed to be as old as the mountains themselves, dating back to the Carboniferous period. It was dormant until it was awoken in the 1960s by a fire being set in a local landfill. Once awoken from its slumber, the flaming giant retreated into the network of coal mines under the town. There it lit a series of coal seams on fire, causing sinkholes and huge amounts of pollution in its wake. The town needed to be evacuated and is now completely off limits to the public. So far, isolation and observation of the entity has been sufficient to keep SCP-1179 under control. But the question remains. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, are there more fire giants waiting to be awoken? Hopefully, we never have to find out. But if we do have a fire giant invasion, we might need help from our next anomaly. Number 9. SCP-5514, the Dragon Slayer. SCP-5514 is also known as the Dragon Slayer, and unlike other entities on this list, it was actually created by the Foundation. The Dragon Slayer is a giant humanoid robot imbued with a number of anomalous powers as a weapon against what they referred to as large-scale aggressor attacks. That's right, folks. The SCP Foundation has an AVA. The robot is 100 meters tall, can fly, and was built in cooperation with the Global Occult Coalition and the government of High Brazil. It's armed with a plasma wrist blade, shoulder-mounted railgun, and a sword made of cold iron, meaning that any wounds inflicted using it won't heal. And if all that wasn't cool enough already, it's powered by a miniature sun embedded in its chest, which provides it with a nearly limitless supply of nuclear energy to power itself. Against the Dragon Slayer, large-scale anomalous entities don't stand a chance. Well, except our next one. Number 8. SCP-001, the Gate Guardian. Out of all the dozens of proposed SCP-001 entities, the Gate Guardian might be one of the most powerful, and it's definitely one of the coolest. The Gate Guardian is an entity that guards the entrance to the Garden of Eden, located somewhere between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Iraq. The Guardian stands at 320 meters tall, has 4 enormous flaming wings, and wields a flaming sword so sharp that it can cleave any object on an atomic level. As you can imagine, nothing can even get close to this entity. It's also psychic, able to project messages into people's heads and wipe the memories of anyone who comes across it. Right now, the Guardian is content to just chill where he is, which is beneficial for humanity since the last time it struck an enemy with its sword, the force of the blow created the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and subsequent Boxing Day tsunami. Given that those were 2 of the deadliest natural disasters in history, it's hard to even imagine what destruction would come from an all-out battle against the Gate Guardian. Number 7. SCP-2845, the Deer. This is a being with godlike power and the potential for mass destruction if the Foundation doesn't complete a very specific and gruesome 6-part ritual. As the name suggests, this SCP resembles a gigantic ethereal deer with a humanoid face and antlers circled by a halo of ice that came from the rings of Saturn. This entity can deconstruct and reshape any matter in its line of sight, and of course, it's immune to conventional weapons. The only effective containment procedure so far has been to surround the creature with a series of circles and conduct a series of rituals ranging from music and dancing to human sacrifice. The strange part of these containment procedures are that theoretically, the deer could still escape at any time. It only remains contained because it either believes the ritual contains it or because it wants to stay in containment. Let's hope it continues to stay where it is and doesn't get bored of the ritual anytime soon. Number 6. SCP-239, the Witch Child. Another powerful reality warper in Foundation Containment is Siguros Stefandorstir, also known as the Witch Child. Siguros is an 8-year-old Icelandic girl with impenetrable skin who can alter reality just by thinking. This power seemingly only affects her immediate surroundings, but it goes without saying that a small child with this kind of power could be devastating to the world at large. Initially, the Foundation tried to raise her as you would a normal child. They kept her as calm as possible at all times, and let her believe that she was a witch who could only perform a series of pre-approved spells. But as she got older, her powers became more difficult to control, and eventually the only way to contain her was to put her in a medically induced coma. Proposals have been made to kill her while she's asleep, out of fear of what she might unleash if she's ever woken up. But she's nothing compared to the power of our next anomaly. Number 5. SCP-001 When Day Breaks. Another one of the many 001 proposals. This SCP is When Day Breaks. This SCP is the designation given to the sun after an event that turned all sunlight deadly, even the sunlight that reflects off the moon at night. Upon contact with sunlight, living things liquefy and reform into a gelatinous entity that will try to find ineffective living things and pull them out into the sunlight. This apocalyptic scenario resulted in the death of 6.8 billion people within the first 24 hours, potentially making it the deadliest SCP on this list. Only small groups of humans survive, mainly by living in underground structures without windows. The situation is bad enough that the remaining personnel at Site-19 are actively considering off-world colonization as the potential solution. Hey, speaking of gelatinous beings. Number 4. SCP-999, the Tickle Monster. Don't worry, this next SCP on the list is a nice one. SCP-999, also known as the Tickle Monster, is a gelatinous entity made of orange slime, the consistency of peanut butter. It has a playful and curious personality similar to that of a dog, and contact with the creature produces a euphoric feeling in humans. Repeated prolonged exposure can be used to treat depression and other mental illnesses. In contrast to SCP-682, 999 has a profound love for all living things, refusing to eat meat and even once taking a bullet to save a person's life. This contrast is especially funny considering that both 682 and 999 are children of the Scarlet King. That's part of why 999 ranks so high on this list. Despite seeming silly, there's a prophecy that states that 999 will one day grow powerful enough to kill its father. And speaking of the Scarlet King, number 3, SCP-001, the Scarlet King. Yes, the Scarlet King is another SCP-001 proposal. Yes, it's confusing. Anyway, this SCP-001 is known as the Scarlet King, a malevolent god hell-bent on wiping out the known universe. He's the living embodiment of malice, represented as a terrifying red figure with a crown, and though his true power level is unknown, it's believed that he's a master of destructive anti-magic, meaning he can wipe out entire planets and possibly whole universes. The Scarlet King himself is trapped in another dimension, but he has a devoted cult of followers who consistently wreak havoc on Earth and are trying to usher him into our world. In addition to that, the Scarlet King has created a number of other very dangerous SCPs like SCP-682 through his many brides. He was also worshipped by the Davites, so we can indirectly thank him for the existence of SCP-140, the anomalous book that rewrites history and incrementally brings the Davites further forward in time. But as powerful as the Scarlet King is, he's still not as powerful as the final 2 SCPs on this list. Number 2. SCP-001, the Black Moon. We didn't list the number for this one because, you guessed it, it's another 001 proposal. They should really just go ahead and pick one already. In the same way that the Scarlet King is the embodiment of malice, the Black Moon is the living embodiment of entropy. This SCP is a formless black mass that has the power to destroy anything. Its end goal is seemingly to destroy all existence, having no regard for life of any kind. If brought into our world, the Black Moon will unleash a plague called the Black Blight that will cover the surface of the Earth and cause all living things that touch it to wither and die. The Black Moon also has strong psychic abilities, projecting its thoughts into the heads of the cultists who worship it. But like the Scarlet King, it's trapped between dimensions for now. And of course, the most powerful SCP, Number 1. SCP-343, God. Whether or not he's actually the God described in Abrahamic texts is up to your personal beliefs. But either way, this SCP is an incredibly powerful, seemingly omnipotent reality warper. He can sort of just do whatever he wants, and he can leave his cell any time he wants. Seemingly, he stays in containment willingly, and often alters the inside of his cell to resemble an English country house, complete with cozy fireplace. He claims to be the creator of the universe and enjoys talking with Foundation staff about a wide range of topics. He thankfully seems to be a pretty chill guy, but if he really is the creator of the universe, that still makes him the most powerful SCP by several orders of magnitude. Now check out most godlike SCPs that you pray to never meet, or SCP-001, How Actually Powerful is the Scarlet King, for more.